Coming in hot, 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 Lisa shares her financial tips and strategies to build wealth, have fun with finances, and be debt-free without having a restrictive budget. From bankrupt to millionaire, Lisa knows what it's like to feel as if you're living paycheck to paycheck. Her unconventional money multiplier system is the very wealth protocol that enabled her to retire 2.5 years early, pay down $100,000 of debt in 6 months, and move to her dream home at the beach. Okay, I think we're live. I think it's working. Everyone can hear me. I am Lisa Drennan. Welcome to this month's Visionary Panel of Experts. Every month I host this awesome panel of experts in their field. And this month we have client attraction coaches. Now, I'm so excited for this. Like, I had a panel a few months ago with fitness coaches, and you guys were like ecstatic and everybody was here. But client attraction coaches, like, we all want to know how to attract clients, because who wants to be chasing that stuff, right? And as a wealth activator, it's the same. We don't want to be chasing after money, because the more you chase after money, the more it says bye-bye, and I'm not hanging out with you, because, you know, it's like that date. Like, you don't chase the guy or the girl because they're like, oh my God, leave me alone. You're crazy, right? It's the same thing with money. We don't chase money and we don't chase clients. So today we have an awesome panel of experts who are going to share all of their knowledge with you. So grab something nice to drink, stop what you're doing, grab a drink, come join us, ask questions if you want to, and check the comments because we'll be sharing their links in there. So we'll go ahead and get started. Carrie, why don't you kick us off, introduce us, tell us who you are, how to connect with you, what you do, why we should listen to you.
Hey, everybody. I'm Carrie Coe, and I'm a business coach for professional women who are coaches and consultants who want to end that six-figure dream and just slay their first six-figure month. In fact, yesterday, one of my clients closed 120K in 7 days. So things are churning with client attraction. I am also a healthcare consultant, and I help healthcare organizations increase their margins through physician fulfillment. And you can usually find me in my Facebook group, Accelerate Your Impact with Energetically Aligned Leadership Strategies, or on LinkedIn. I'm over there all the time as well, Carrie Coe. So come connect, come find me, and love to have a conversation with you.
Beautiful. Thank you. And congrats on that client.
Thank you. She's killing it. It's so much fun.
It's amazing. Isn't it amazing to like watch your clients be able to get that success story?
Totally.
It was so awesome. One of my clients our contract is ending the end of this month. So we had our like final call, our little testimonial call. And it was so awesome to hear her journey for the past year and how her relationship with money has changed and how she's been able to multiply it, even though she was out of work. Like her business motto changed, and, you know, she was doing some grants and she lost some funding, but yet she was still able to stay on course with that relationship with money. So it's such a beautiful journey to be able to watch them.
Awesome.
Doug, you're up.
Doug Greathouse. Been in a digital marketer for over 15 years. My agency, Sales Site, that little sign to the bottom, helping companies across various industries grow their revenue. Also, co-owner of the Profitable Business. We focus mostly on Christian entrepreneurs. Profitable Christian Business Planner is above my head. Had that coaching program for about 2 years now. The best way to find me is you can go to salessite.com or salesitecrm.com. That's our CRM. I'm very active on Facebook as well as LinkedIn, so you can find me there as well.
Awesome. Thank you. And Doug and I just recently met. So it's cool to be he hosts networking events that I went to. It was really amazing to connect with like-minded people, because, you know, like, as soulpreneurs, you feel so alone. And it's just like, I just want someone like to talk to and bounce things back. And, you know, kind of like, I like to say the venting thing. I did a post the other day about when I went to work at my 9 to 5, I was able to vent to my coworkers about all the stuff that was going on. And now I'm like, who can I vent to? Who wants to hear me? You know, and I have this thing that I'm not complaining for the rest of the year, but venting and complaining are completely different in my book. Thank you, Doug, for being here. Betty.
Hi, everyone. I am Betty Gottwald, a marketing coach. I run a group. So from the latest experiences yesterday, my group grew from 480 people to 530. after using AI automations, like I'm like proud and happy about that. Apart from that, I'm a single mom converted from being an academic teacher to being a business coach for bold business women. And I guide them how to get clients using AI-powered marketing tools without all the tedious social media strategies.
I love that. You have a very powerful program, and the images that you create are absolutely stunning. So very powerful. Thank you. Angela.
Hey. So, hey, y'all, I'm Angela. I am a wife of 25 years, boy mom, master writing teacher turned content marketing coach. And I kicked off my entrepreneurial journey about 20 years ago selling pink lipsticks. Now I specialize in using storytelling to create launch content that does the heavy lifting. Because I like to say, if your message isn't clear, then your marketing is going to feel like herding cats. So my goal is to help coaches have higher converting launches with fun, ease, and effective content that helps move their audience from stranger to client.
I love that. I didn't know you started off with pink lipsticks.
I did.
Do you still do that?
No, but I wear a lot of lipstick.
Yeah. It's funny because I'm always looking for a nice, deep pink lipstick. And they're hard to find. It's like all these washed out colors. I'm like, no, I need something bright, you know?
Yeah. Especially for like on camera all the time. Like it has to pop.
Yeah, you have to make it pop. Yeah, so it's funny, I was thinking about pink lipsticks today as I was trying to combine lipsticks. I know, Doug, you're really into that part of it, huh?
Oh yeah, all the time. And
your
hair
favorite.
products.
Yeah, and hair products too.
I have a hard time picking what I like the most out of those.
Yeah, trying to tame those curls and everything. Yeah,
Yeah.
that gets to be challenging. Alrighty. Yeah, we always have to have fun here on the panel because that's what it's all about. Like entrepreneurship isn't really serious, right? We all human beings. So we're gonna get started. And like one of the questions, like, when I first learned about client attraction, when I started my online journey back in August of 20, I had coaches who kind of guided me like based on what I wanted to do. And I'm a certified aromatherapy practitioner. And it's like, well, I want to be able to use that to help people, right? And it was always about healing from the inside out. So I kind of got involved in these different coaching programs. And one of my coaches, who I absolutely love to death, said, oh, you should be a client attraction coach. And I'm like, what? I don't even have any clients. How do you do that? Right? And I had clients. I mean, I worked with tons of clients like in my 9 to 5, and I was working 3 side gigs, and one of them was doing financial coaching. But to me, those weren't clients. Those were just people I was helping. So like the words really like messed me up a lot. But anyways, I tried for like 6 months to be a client attraction coach. And I was like, yeah, no, you really have to have a heart for this, because when someone asks you the silly questions over and over again, it's like, did you not read? Did you not do the modules? Like, what are you afraid of? So when you think about it, what are the most effective strategies for attracting high ticket clients while maintaining or increasing profit margins? So, and I chose this question for 2 reasons. One, so many people are afraid to price their signature offers. And 2, when they do price them, they're afraid to market them. So why don't we start with you, Angela?
Okay. You know what? I think for me, and this I'm sure is going to come from my area, my little corner of the world that I float in, but to me, it has to do with messaging. So for it to be really effective, if your marketing message is off, I mean, we could get deeper, like there's the whole mindset behind everything that we do, but if your message doesn't speak to them, you got a real problem. And what I see, and this for me has been one of those things that I came from teaching writing. I taught writing for years. And so it's real easy when you read someone else's writing to pull out the message, or it is for me. Like I did it so much. And so what you see on social media is everybody has the same message. Right. And just thinking about the client attraction coach, like I used to think of myself as a client attraction coach, and I don't even think of myself as a client attraction coach anymore. I think of myself as a content marketer, but it is one of those things where everybody sounds the same. I remember this moment where I thought my message sounded exactly like 12 other people's. Or I would read something and I thought they took my thing. And then I'm like, no, that's how generic it is. Like if you think you sound like everybody else, you do. And that's why it's not effective. So in my corner of the world, effectiveness, you want a higher ticket client, you want
increased profit margin, increased conversions from your events, conversions from your content, you want it to actually work, then you have to actually be very specific, very clear, very unique. And you'll notice like here in the unicorn group, Nicole, very specific, very unique. She stands out. But she doesn't match anybody else, right? It's all her. And that's why it works. That's exactly why it works. And when I embraced that point where I was like, I had a friend one day go, you're not this, you do content marketing. And it was just this, oh. And when I embraced that and actually let myself say it different, just be me, everything changed.
And I think that's the key, right? Just be you. And like, what is that one thing that makes you stand out? I was talking to someone the other day and they were talking about how Five Guys added extra fries to their bag. And he was like promoting that. And I'm like, I've never eaten at Five Guys. But like, people go there because they get a handful of extra fries and that's what makes them stand out. They don't even advertise anymore. So it's like, oh, I wonder.
They just did. They just did advertise.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, by you saying it. So that's how they're unique, and then people comment on that in groups like this and in other social settings, and boom, they didn't have to spend a dime talking about the fries everyone else is, right?
Yeah, there you go.
That's exactly it. And I always say too, like if other people can't say what you do, talk about what you do or how you're unique or whatever, then you really do have a problem. Like you have a big problem if you can't say, oh, they give you extra fries.
Yeah, that's so true. Organic marketing at its best.
Yes.
Yeah.
Carrie, would you like to add anything to that?
Sure. I think there's this perception that client attraction is a certain way that you write content. And like everything that Angela said is absolutely true. And I believe that client attraction starts before we're even talking about clients. So most people create the wrong offer. Most people create offers that are based on what they received external accolades for in their career, in their profession. It's about those things that they were really good at, that they're like, hey, I want to go like do this on my own and have more freedom. And the problem with that is that you're literally replicating what you did in your 9-to-5 without a salary, without benefits, without the external accolades, and you are setting yourself up for failure. So client attraction starts with owning your true innate authority. And that's a blend of your perspective, your experiences, both personal and professional. It's a blend of your beliefs, a blend of your values, and we kind of mix all of that together and really uncover what you are known for, where your thought leadership begins. Because if we get that wrong, everything downstream from your offers, from your marketing, from your sales, it's all going to feel off to you. And when anything feels off, you are not going to sell it. And so we have to start with owning your authority, uncovering what that really is, and also acknowledging, like, if you're feeling resistance, there's something there, right? Like we really need to understand what that's really about. And then we create premium offers, not these like low ticket offers, climbing the ladder. You guys, like, nobody's here to suffer. If you want to be here to build an enormous audience and sell $25, $97 things, like that is a strategy. But if you want to accelerate your impact, accelerate your revenue, just become a premium priced coach or consultant. And what you find is that your language patterns shift. You elevate, you become the person who actually creates the results that you want, and you start attracting people through the messaging that Angela was talking about at a higher level, because premium clients actually don't care about the work involved. Okay. Like they just want the results. And so when you are elevated, talking about through your content, through all the different ways, it's not just content, by the way, then you're attracting people at a different energetic level. And so learning sales from a premium sales strategy level is also part of client attraction. So, I think like when we talk client attraction, people think it's just marketing, and it's so much more than that. There are really a lot, like 5 different business foundations when we talk about client attraction. And also it happens offline too. We forget about that. A lot of my clients like have massive revenue coming in from referrals and business to business, and they supplement that with online sales. So there's not just one way to do this. And this is what I want to encourage everyone to understand, is that if you have an idea for how you want to attract clients, that idea can work when you own your authority first.
Mhm.
Oh, I love that. And you know that it's so true. Referrals are my best friend. I'm an independent insurance broker, and I love, like, my whole insurance business runs on referrals. It's like I started like dipping into LinkedIn and like, oh, well, let me do a post. I do a Medicare educational seminar once a month. And I'm like, oh, let me do a post. I'll drive more traffic to it. And it's like so easy. It's like, oh, wow, this is just self-running itself. So yeah, referrals are our best friend. Thank you for all that gold. Doug.
Well, I'm going to approach it from a different perspective because you talked about the profitability of your offer, right? And as Carrie mentioned, high ticket's the way to go. But you want to make sure that you're delivering high value, low cost to you as much as possible. That is the winning segment, right? You don't want to be any of these high cost to you, low value. You want to evaluate your offer all the way through to make sure that you're delivering that thing that's really going to move the needle for your client. So, and also when you're coming up with your offer, make sure that you're pricing it out, right? So that you're going through and saying, this is how much this will cost, this is how much this will cost, this will cost, this will cost. So that when you take it to market, you know where your margins are.
Yeah, and that's so important because I know a lot of when people come to work with me in my Wealth Accelerator, one of the things I do for them is a profit gold audit. And we look at their business plan, their signature offer in comparison to like their business, their financial plan, and like how they're selling it. And there's such a gap. There's such a hole. They don't really understand like who they're marketing to. And like, well, I serve everybody. No, you don't. Just stop it. You can't serve everybody, okay?
No.
You need to talk to that one person. And it doesn't mean you're only going to get one person but I think especially for new coaches, they get into this thing like, well, if I don't talk to all these people, then I'm not ever going to get clients. And, and I like how, when we talk about like, this is bringing back memories for me. And when I first started creating that niche and that, ideal avatar, like who's your client? And like, it's not on just demographics, it's this, it's that. And like, how are you going to describe it? And it's like, oh my goodness, overwhelmed. So for all you newbies out there, like, go back and listen and take notes. That's a really good point. Betty.
I think that all of you have truth in your hearts and in your minds. I would like to add something onto that, okay? From the perspective of AI and also a little bit from ROI articulation, because Nicole is a master in articulating ROI while working with their clients. And at the same time, we have a balance between ROI articulation, which is connected to messaging. But at the same time, we also have huge relationship with our expertise. So I do believe that we need to find the self-esteem and self-belief and self-worth and nurture this feeling that we are worthy of the results that we sell. But at the same time, I think that some people have very high self-assessment and it doesn't match the reality. So I think that this is the challenge. At the same time, when Lisa, you asked about attracting high-ticket clients and related it to profitability, which makes total sense from the financial standpoint. So I think that there are a lot of AI tools that support us in increasing profitability of our businesses, starting with automations and all the things. But at the same time, even when you go to ChatGPT or something as easy as Cascade, you will have the profitability increased because something, in this case, AI agent or AI solution, analyzes your offer and also suggests you some changes, also in pricing. So instead of going to master's degree, making PhD and learning all the things, you can start the easiest way, which means go to AI and even ask ChatGPT. This is my business model. I assume you do have it. As Lisa said, it's required. It's good to have it. And optimize profit margins based on this, and that criteria. So yeah.
Can I add too that something that Doug and Betty made me think about having to do with the offers that Carrie was talking a nice, beautiful conversation here. I also think that it matters to have a intention of how you're going to sell that offer when you create it, like, or an understanding, like thinking about how you're going to sell it in mind when you create the offer. So like when you're putting in bonuses or things like when I go to sell this, when I go to present this, how am I doing that? And I think that makes a difference too, because we have to focus on like, how is it effective for them? How is it time-wise? Like health coaching, for example, people could choose a health coach or they could choose Ozempic. We have 2 different price points. We have 2 different levels of effort, right? So, Ozempic, you just take a shot. Health coaching, there's effort. We have to know how we're going to also sell all of those things that make a difference on why people buy. So I think that has to even go into that whole discussion. And if you don't know those things, AI, you just put in the prompts. You're like, what are the things people consider when they buy, right? And we have to take that into account, because then it needs to be in our discussions, in our marketing, in our content, in our awareness, just when we present to somebody what we're selling, what we're offering, how we can help.
Yeah.
I would like to pick up this conversation just a little bit and talk about AI, because I'm sure Betty will want to jump in on this. AI is only as good as the prompts and the information that you put into it, right? So do not, AI should not be your crutch. You should still have some expertise, right? I think there's a danger in the marketplace right now where people don't have expertise and they're just leveraging AI to be their expertise, right? So you have to come in and give the AI the right information based on your authenticity and your expertise. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah, sure. And prompting is also the art. So we learn this. This is a skill set. At the same time, Doug, it is perfect. It is like you put the nail in the head, or however we say it, like idioms. I hate idioms. But speaking about AI and its role, we started with general AI, and this was ChatGPT and Gemini. And in most cases, it solved all of the problems. And when you say that someone uses artificial intelligence, in many cases, they think, oh, I use ChatGPT. I am an AI expert. And the truth is, now we have a lot of specialized AI, which are crafted to analyze profit margins, to create clients' avatars, to create copy. So if you use general AI, 100%, you need a lot of expertise, you need to evaluate it and all the things. And even when I work with my clients, they can also say, and I always recommend them, read what you created, evaluate, because then it makes sense also for your business.
Nice.
Yes, thank you so much for that added value, because a lot of times people will go into AI and just copy and paste. It's like, yeah, you didn't write that. It doesn't even make sense. Like, please read what you write. But it is a great tool, and yeah, definitely do not use it as a crutch. So when you think about we always say like the riches are in the niches, right? And like I know there's wealth, health, and relationships, but then we have to go down deeper. So how can coaches refine their niche to target more profitable clients without alienating their broader audience? Let's start with you, Doug.
Create messaging silos, right? So you have a big umbrella brand, right? And then within that, you can start to niche your messaging to the different silos. That's I know that's a really simple answer, but
no, that's a great answer. And I never I always think about like the umbrella, and then we have the little offers underneath it, and focusing on that and like getting the message out. And I know vulnerability is huge. So Angela, would you like to add to?
My thought was, I think too, a lot of people assume that, oh, I'm going to niche like by who I'm serving. And I find if we start expanding into how we're serving them, that can set it apart. Like, for example, like, okay, you could just have a parenting coach. I serve moms. Well, then you can go more specific. You can take it to another level deeper. I serve moms of teenage boys. Right? That's a whole different need. Like that's specific, right? Well, so like there's still like could be a million moms of teenage boys coaches in that. But you can then go into like methodology or the problem you solve or the methodology you use. I help moms of teenage boys get them talking again. It's a very different way. So I think sometimes just having an awareness, does that mean that only moms of teenage boys are going to come to you to help get their kids talking? No. Or you could do it, through more the methodology like gentle parenting, right? So I think you can take those, or homeschooling or something. Like there's different ways we can do things, and a lot of people think it's about who, but I think you get a lot more specific when you start getting to the one problem or the method you do that. And I think that's when we actually have a higher conversion, because it's speaking directly into this, towards the solution that they're looking for.
Yeah, and that's so important to speak directly into that solution. Like, we all hear, do not lead with the pain points. Stop poking people and stop chasing them in the DMs. That's no fun.
Well, you want to poke them a little bit, but you want to poke a little bit, but there has to be solution there. Otherwise, you're only going to get people like the crazy aunt at the family reunions that just wants to complain, right? And doesn't really want a solution, doesn't really want help. So
yeah, so true.
You have to have that solution.
Thank you. Betty.
I believe that there are tools that support us in growing this delineation line between the broader audience and our clients that pay us more money, because actually I believe that high ticket requires us to specialize. If you sell high ticket, you have to be an expert in a very narrow niche. This is obvious. And why is it obvious? Even when you think about studies and the way of your education worked, our education worked. When I started writing my master's thesis was about social media marketing in general. Then when I was writing PhD theses, I focused on the demand and relationship to the digital marketing. And then I narrowed it down to specific region and to specific industry. So the more specific you are, the deeper you can go. And when you speak with clients, this is the way we can also articulate our leverages, why we are better, because we did these exact profiles thousands of times. But at the same time, when we are thinking about our most profitable niches, because this is what Lisa also stressed in the question, I think that coefficient is a great tool, because you go there to Google Sheets, you put in a coefficient, you download your CRM data or your data from your social media, or both, usually both, and you analyze profit margins and compare the results for different niches. And based on the data, you make the decision, because we might think that, oh, I would love to work with mothers. I love mothers. My heart beats for them, but they don't pay you money. So, of course, this is the example. All of us have different niches and different profiles, but I think this is worth remembering that data speaks.
Yeah, and you know why moms don't invest in themselves? Because they're too busy investing in their families. That's one of the things I focus on. It's just like, take your me time, invest in you. That's why we have fun money, and just spend it on yourself, right? You deserve it. So my youngest was 14 when I decided to invest in myself, and now I haven't stopped. And every day my husband's like, I get a package in the mail, and he's like, stop spending money. I go, every time you tell me that, I'm just going out and spending more. Where's Amazon?
Yeah, we're at least a package a day family as well. I don't have much to do with that.
Yeah, but I do have to say our TV got struck by lightning in our pool area, and we now have a new TV, but we need to stop spending money, but you gotta replace that TV. Not to mention that there's 5 TVs in the house that could have been replaced there. So yeah, we're spending money the way we want to. Carrie.
Oh, so I love, Betty, your example of like your master's thesis and your PhD, because, coming from a healthcare background, specialists make more than generalists, right? Like that's just the way it goes. Like neurosurgeons make more than primary care docs. So, here's the thing that I want to touch on, because you said the word, how do you do this without alienating? So I think that we need to embrace alienation
Mm.
because there's a sense of ego that's involved when we don't want to alienate people, right? And that ego is saying, but I can serve everyone, right? And it's really like, but who are you best positioned to serve, right? Like, I
Mm.
can serve all the women, right? I can serve all the moms. I'm a mom, right? I can serve all the working moms, but there is a specific niche that I have that is best positioned for me. Those professional women who are career women who want more unapologetically and are already at the frequency of like a high level of income because that's what they made in their career, right? And so that's a different niche than someone who had a career, has been a stay-at-home mom for 15 years, and now wants to launch her own business. It's very different. So I think that I learned a lot about alienation because I was scared. So I have two niches, guys. I work in healthcare. I serve physicians. I work with healthcare executives. And I also, I'm a business coach for entrepreneurs. So when I'm talking about my business coaching offers to these professional women, I am absolutely alienating the healthcare side of my business.
Mm.
And that gets to be okay. Like
Mm.
I get to choose when I'm talking about healthcare and when I'm talking about business coaching. And I get to choose where I do that. And so LinkedIn for me is where I talk about both. So there are days I'm alienating, like every day I'm alienating someone, right? But part of this comes down to, that trust in that the person who needs to hear your message is going to hear your message. And so when I am alienating, every message that I give to the women I'm speaking to on LinkedIn, there is a message in there for the healthcare executive because everything that got me successful in entrepreneurial world is exactly what I teach the healthcare executives, the physicians, right? And so there is cross-pollination. So even in the alienation, there's a serve to that. So don't be scared to alienate, you guys, because that is it really, we come from a world of like all inclusive, like inclusiveness is one of my primary values, right? This was a really hard concept for me to overcome because I want to be inclusive. I want to serve all of the people. But at the end of the day, specialists make more than generalists. And if you want to impact or accelerate your income and your impact, you get to go narrow before you go wide. Because as Angela said, those people will come to you that you're not even talking to, right? So
Yeah.
yeah.
And from that, like you have to knock on less doors, right? When you niche, right? If you're knocking on everybody's door and your message doesn't resonate with everybody because it's watered down because you're trying to appeal to everybody, you get more conversions by knocking on less doors to the right people.
So much value there. I like it. It's a pot of gold just spilling over. The treasures are just coming out. It's amazing. So when you think about, coaches love feedback, right? We all love feedback. We want that pat on the back, that gold stars. Like, earlier we were praising Carrie's client, like hitting those milestones, right? So how can coaches use client feedback and testimonials to attract new clients and justify higher pricing, thus increasing profit margins? Let's start with Betty.
A great question, Lisa, and I know that you hated this sentence, but this is true. The truth is, in most cases, we are trying to leverage testimonials to attract new clients because people can find themselves in every story we talk about. So when I talk about my client who crushed 12K after months of making no money, and in the moment when she was standing there in the store to sell all her jewelry that was in the family for ages, for years, like years, and she got those Stripe notifications, and I got goosebumps. And she didn't have to do this. This story doesn't speak only to this particular one woman whose life really changed dramatically, but it speaks to all of clients around. And we can have testimonials and feedback from clients as a proof that our method is working. And I wouldn't be that confident speaking about my methodology if I didn't have clients' results. my clients create stunning AI pictures. Like, Lisa, your pictures are freaking stunning. I love them. So my clients also gain confidence in creating content using artificial intelligence because they know how to speak with artificial intelligence to have the results that they want to have from AI. So this is why I use testimonials and feedback not only to, attract new clients, but also to develop curriculum. And I think that when we speak about growing profit margins, we usually think about delivering something that doesn't cost us that much money. But at the same time, to create higher value for our clients, we need to increase the ROI. And we increase the ROI by answering those demands that appear within the programs that we serve. So the better our offer is, the better the results are. And the better the results are, the higher ROI. And as a result, profit margins. So I think that testimonials are not there and feedback are not there only to communicate them to broad audiences, but first and foremost, to level up our curriculum.
Yeah, and like you said, earlier, Five Guys is getting free advertising. And that's what testimonials do. So all of you ladies and gents listening out there, you want more clients, you want to attract clients, share your testimonials. I have a client right now who refuses to share testimonials because they don't want to use their name. I'm like, okay, first of all, get permission. Or second of all, just use their first name, okay? It's a common name. But really, you can tell the story without naming the person. And I know, when I work with clients, a lot of times they don't want me to use their name because, oh, I don't want people to know my business about finances and all the money and stuff. But then I have other clients who don't care. They're like, yeah, I'm so proud of myself. You can share all my figures. I don't care. So yeah, there's that fear factor that sets in. Angela.
You know what I was thinking about with this is one of the things that I always think of with testimonials and the feedback we get, I use it a lot for reflecting and refining my program and my own messaging, right? And we're, so that I'm attracting those more and better clients as I move forward. Because I think one of the biggest mistakes people make, especially if you're under six figures, is you don't reflect and refine. You don't you're just, oh, that didn't work, and you're throwing the baby out with the bathwater instead of going, okay, here's what did work, here's what didn't work, and here's what I want to tweak. Here's where I want to evaluate. Here's where I want to test a new whatever. I'm going to test a new copy. I'm going to test new email sequence or what, instead of assuming everything was bad with the launch or everything was bad with the live video or whatever it is you're doing. So I think that's one of those things where, yes, we want other people to see our testimonies, but we have to take all that into account. We have to have that feedback also for us, even good or bad. I just recently joined a little program, and one of the things that after every module, they have a survey after every module you complete. And I thought that was really interesting because it's immediate feedback from module 1 about what didn't land, where they were struggling. And I thought that was a very interesting way to not wait for feedback or not wait to tweak things, not wait to wonder, how many modules do they need to complete, or how long do they need to have disappeared or ghosted you before you realize they're having a problem, right? And with something like that. So I think there's ways that it can be very beneficial. But then I think it also goes into, and if I'm taking too long, just stop me, into building our own belief in our own program and our own belief in our own ability to help other people. Because being an entrepreneur is hard. Let's be real honest. There's, especially you can have a month where you're best month in the world, and then the next month there's nothing, right? It's normal, right? That happens to everybody. And so sometimes we need to get our own mind around, we have to self-coach. Let me put it that way. We have to self-coach.
Yes, do your own program.
Yes, exactly.
Carrie.
Okay, so I'm going to be honest here. Testimonials are my least favorite topic. I'm going to tell you why. Okay, so when I started, I was a healthcare consultant, right? So I had a lot of very intense conversations with groups of people that they did not want shared outside of the walls, right? And so I was kind of conditioned to talk about testimonials from a case study standpoint, but from a case study standpoint that so much has been changed that nobody absolutely can identify, who that person is, right? Like I was so scared of like, doing something to, break that trust that they had in me. And so I had a really hard time when I started business coaching because, I'd get like the basic testimonials, like this was the great, best coaching I've ever had, you rah, rah. And, and I'd throw those up on a sales page or whatever. But like, it took me a long time to really get into like the feeling of what a testimonial is about. Because for me, this is another like vulnerability. I used to look at testimonials, like the thing I just shared, right? Of like my client just closed 120K in seven days. I'd be like, oh my God, I'm never going to do that. I'm such a loser. How come I didn't get that result? Like you guys, this was as a driven, high level professional woman, always feeling behind. Like I did not like testimonials. Okay. Like ask like anybody. Okay. So did I have a testimonial system in my business? No. And so what did I have to do to really use testimonials in the way that you all have explained really can grow your business? I had to really look at what that was about for my clients who didn't want me to do testimonials or case studies about them. For the client who, one of my first testimonials I did in business coaching was super like anonymous. Hey, my client just did this thing by doing this thing. And she immediately messaged me and was like, oh my God, you have to take that down right now. You guys, I've had trauma around testimonials. And I was like, oh my God, right? But these are all all meaningful information, right? That we get to dissect and peel the layer to become the person, right? And to help our people become the people. And so, when I look at who I was in this space, it had nothing to do with testimonials. It had to do with the trust that I had in myself, really like allowing myself to own the results that I had, that my clients had, and really talk to them about the benefit to them. So I think really, long story short, I think testimonials are something that they're very powerful when you share the behind the scenes for how it happened, right? So just throwing up testimonials all the time is one thing, but it's like, let's really talk about how this happened. Like, what is the reality of this situation? This client didn't start yesterday and closed 120K in 7 days. That's not how it works, right? And the first 100,000 she closed was like total burnout. So we had to shift everything, And so like when you share the behind the scenes and the real truth of it, like what it really takes, it's not just a flashy testimonial, it's a form of connection with your audience. And when you use testimonials as a form of connection with your audience, then you feel better, they feel better, and they feel like, oh, maybe I can do that. There's not this perfect path.
I love that. And telling that before and after picture is so much more effective than just, oh, my client just, received $10,000 in 1 day, get the formula. It's like, no, stop. She did not. It took her months to do that. I know. I've interviewed you. You've been on my podcast. We had that before talk.
Right. It's just like, you guys, we have to like, as consumers, I think everybody's so much smarter now than we were in like 2017 around this stuff, but it's like, we have to ask questions, instead of allowing ourselves to spin and compare and despair.
Exactly.
I would love to add, like, I love what you said too about realizing that identity portion of that we have inside of us behind it. Because I know I come from teaching where you didn't talk about that's illegal. Like you don't go share. Right. And
Totally.
You don't come and share what a kid's grades are with anybody. You don't talk about their issues with anybody. Like you can go lose your teaching certificate. Right. And so I think we don't always realize what's behind that. Like, or were we told, and I don't want to get like all into like, let's go into the life coaching realm here and talk about all the thoughts and feelings from our childhood. That's not what I'm meaning, but we have to be aware that I was the same way. Like I still don't I still I feel myself pause. I feel myself hold back when it comes time to share those things
Hmm.
because of my background. And I think just having an awareness that we're there, then we get to make the decision. Are we going to do it or not? Are we going to move forward or not? So,
Totally.
Yeah.
Patient confidentiality in healthcare is the one golden rule,
yes.
right? So like that is what I was bringing, what physicians were bringing, and it's like we
Yep.
can't share this stuff. So I love that. Same with teachers. Yeah,
Yep.
that's really good awareness.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you for that. So, guys, all of you listening out there, that's why you're nervous to share testimonies, right? Like you start preparing it, and like you get the graphic done, like that's not the problem. But then you start to prepare the content, and you're like, oh, well, maybe I should send it to them first and see if it's okay. But then when it comes to sharing our own testimonies, like our own results, I mean, like I know I've sugarcoated a lot of stuff, and it's like, oh, I'm not going to talk about that. They don't want to hear about that. I've already said that 10,000 times.
Yeah.
But you've never heard it because you've, based on algorithms and all that stuff there. And even though I sound like a broken record, you're hearing it for the first time. And remembering that is such an important point. So when you're doing this, Doug, what would you like to add to this?
Oh, so much awesomeness has been shared about this already. Basically just implementing as a system, right? Like if you don't systematize it, it really doesn't get done. Too often entrepreneurs are like, it's an afterthought, right? Oh, I'll get testimonials from them later on, or they're so focused on lead generation, fulfillment, all that sort of stuff that they forget to ask for testimonials. So just find a way to incorporate it into your system to where, okay, just like Angela served about the survey, right? They may give you feedback. They may also give you an amazing testimonial you never thought you'd get from that survey, right? So just make it part of your system.
Yeah,
And
I'm totally
that
adding
note,
that into mine.
yeah, me too. On that note, not a plug for me, but there's an app out there called Braid It. Click the link. You just basically send a link. Boom, they can leave a video testimonial with a little prompt.
Is
And then
that
you can,
braid like a hair braid?
yep,
B-R-A-I-D?
BRAIDIT. So.
Okay. Braid it. You guys, take note of that. I'll put it in the comments as well. That's awesome. Yeah, so testimonies get to be really super easy. I know when my clients leave, I do an exit interview and I record it, and parts of this will become reels, and we'll do we'll turn it into, copy, throw it in the email and share parts of it. And there's one or two clients will say, oh, well, can we go live? I'd like to share my testimony live in your group. It's like, what? Sure. So when they ask me to go live, that's awesome because that's what I really want. Like, come on my podcast and talk about your money story, and let's hear all the nitty-gritty details of how you ebbed and flowed and rode that emotional roller coaster ride as you were reorganizing your own personalized wealth activation roadmap. So when we think about that mindset, what mindset shifts are necessary for coaches to confidently pursue and achieve ambitious profit margin goals while growing their client base? And I always say mindset is the crux of all that we do. So let's see. Let's start with you, Doug.
Long-term vision over short-term vision, right? You have to have, where you're going in the long term and not just focus on those short-term goals all the time, because obviously if you want to grow big, you have to have a long-term vision.
Vision.
Oh, I like that. I like
Need
that.
the plan. What's that saying? Fail to plan, plan to fail. So very simple, you guys. It's simple, right? Just take notes and implement. Betty.
It is simple, but it is not easy. So I was always a master in planning. I planned everything, but executed almost nothing. So I think that this was one of the most important shifts that I had to go through when I was growing my business, to start actually implementing and taking action and being vulnerable in front of my audience. And I think that vulnerability is a huge thing because we believe we are vulnerable. So I told my story many times, but I was hiding a few very important details. Like I thought, well, they don't care and they don't want to hear it. And I feel naked when I speak about all those things. So I prefer speaking about AI, about tools. It's safer. It's cold, but it's safer. And at the same time, conversions were really very low. Like, okay, how can I be more vulnerable? And when I processed my emotions and peeled back a few layers, I realized what was the source of my insecurities, because in most cases we are scared of a few things, and in my case, my core fear was fear of abandonment. So I was scared that people are going to leave my audience, people are going to leave my life when they find out what the path was, what the real path was. And I think that in many cases, we believe we are at the core. But when we start again peeling the layers, we think, oh, shoot, there are so many layers left there. So mindset is a thing that is never over. It's a constant growth.
If
So
I could just
true.
add to
Yeah,
that
it
just
is.
real quick.
Mhm.
You circle back to the whole client attraction thing. You attracted more clients by being vulnerable. I think there's a balance between this authority and vulnerability that we got to play, right?
Mhm.
And I think that's key. Thank you for saying that.
Yeah, thank you. And there's so many layers. I'm peeling back so many layers every single day. And it's like, stop it. Just don't, isn't there an end?
No.
Angela.
Well, I was sitting here thinking about this, and I think for me, my personal, it has been it's just more been, hold on, let me spit it out, how I have viewed myself, like my own self-identity in the different areas. Because when I first started, like I was back, well, 20 years ago, network marketing, like I saw it as like a hobby. I saw it as something on the side. Was in, doing it while I was in college. So I didn't see it the same way. And then even as a coach, and I still had a full-time job, it still felt hobbyish versus me looking at it like a career or the long-term vision of what it was, right? And I'm trying to make this make sense, but I don't think I'm hitting exactly what I'm wanting to say. I didn't have a mindset of, or I didn't necessarily see myself, like I still just see myself as like I have a boring life. Like I'm going to go pick up my kids and sit in the car line. Like it's not, I didn't see myself as someone who has a six-figure business. I just saw myself as someone who just had daily actions she took, that was a coach. I had clients. I just didn't own that identity. And I think one of the biggest shifts for me was to start looking at myself as a CEO, as a business owner, as someone who's building a legacy for what, I'm going to spit this out. When I got to this place where I actually felt like I had something in my industry and my niche that was different and of value, like I teach storytelling. I taught writing for 20 years. So I feel like I could sit down with Donald Miller, who wrote StoryBrand, and have a really good conversation, and I would have things to offer. And it wasn't until I got into the mindset that, no, I have something to offer the entire industry that's different from everybody else, that I was able to really be in that mindset of this, the visionary experience of entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
It took me a minute to spit it out, but I got there.
Yeah, no. And it's so true though, too, because a lot of times we have like we think, oh, I can do this, but then the fear comes in, and it's like the confidence, it's like, oh no. And then these thoughts go through our head, and like then they turn into these feelings, and then we're like stuffing them and burying them, like, oh no, I can't do that. Like, there was supposed to be another person on our panel, and like they bailed out last minute, and I'm like, why are you bailing? And the reason didn't make sense. I was just like, oh, okay, no worries. It's that's what happens, right? But I think it's the fear of, oh my goodness, like I had someone, we're doing a workshop, and I gave them the option to go into this group of 31,000. They're like, no, can we just go into your group? I'm like, yeah, I don't care either way. But that fear of all these people are going to be staring at me. So Carrie, what would you like to add?
So when I hear the word mindset, it's like, I don't really know what that means, but the way that I interpret that is, how do we influence ourselves? Because if we want to influence others, we have to influence ourselves. And I love that, how you describe that, Angela, in terms of like, if I'm sitting down with this known thought leader, like I have more to teach him, right? Like,
Yeah.
and that's right. It's like getting to that point of seeing yourself in that thought leadership position, in that uniqueness. And it really comes down to, we all know about the stories we tell ourselves and the commitments we tell ourselves, but it's what are we making these scenarios mean, right? It's like, Lisa, your
Yes.
example, like this person just bailed. What am I making that mean about me, right? And and when we can get into this place of, I mean, I have really evolved in where I see mindset. It's such an embodiment practice. It's why when I hit my first 6-figure months, it's why I couldn't hold the frequency. And my next month was like, 10K.
Yep. Yep.
And it took me to really understand what embodiment meant, to understand how I was rejecting that success, how I was not feeling in this place of deservedness and all of these things, right? It took a release of shame. And I, have these practices that I do when these distressing emotions come up. And now shame is not part of my repertoire ever. If I'm like, I think it's shame, it's not shame. That doesn't exist here anymore, right? So it's like, it's really coming up with, and so many people teach this, right? And so it's like finding the methodology and making it your own so that it becomes part of your practice, so that you can influence yourself, so that you know the meaning and the focus that you're placing on certain situations. And you're using that as a lesson to elevate into becoming the person. Because when we can hold that frequency, then your first 6-figure month becomes your next one and your next one. And that's what I'm seeing with the clients is like, oh, I had to bomb that one, right? Mm-hmm. So that I could pick myself back up and really really see how I was holding myself back. And so, I think mindset is a big word. I think that it's really, starting simple and basic, and we can just all ask ourselves the question, ooh, what's this really about? Like, what am I actually feeling?
Yeah, and that's probably the best
feeling
question to ask
Yeah.
is what's this really about and how do I feel about it? And then moving on from there and in every aspect. So thank you so much, all of you, for being here, for sharing your expertise. I see a couple of questions, but I have a 2:00, so I'll have to hop off. If you guys want to, if you're in the group, you can go over there and I'll tag you. I should have tagged you already. But if not, I'll send you the link to everything when we're done. And for those of you listening, connect with whoever you resonate with, whoever you felt like drawn to. Like they each have their own niche, right? If you want to know about AI, if you want to know about the profit sales, if you want to know about the healthcare, the business coaching, you have a panel of experts right here that you can tap into, go visit their links, get into their world, and really think about, how am I attracting clients? Am I chasing them or am I attracting them? How is this helping me? Like, what kind of a system do I have in place to organically connect with those that I am meant to serve? And because if you really want your profit margins to increase, you need to start looking at the plan that you have in place, because it doesn't matter how much money you have, it's what you do with it. Hey, thanks for tuning into the show. Give us a 5-star review and share it with your friends. Get ready to activate wealth. Be the next millionaire with a simple adjustment of your finances using an energetically aligned money multiplier system. You get to build wealth by partnering with money. It's time to have fun with finances. Pick a date. The link is in the show notes to book your wealth activation call, where you will get the one solution to multiply your money. Remember, it doesn't matter how much money you make, it's what you do with it.